We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Conrad Robert Murray, guilty of the crime of involuntary manslaughter.
And Mr. Phillips gets involved, and what does he do? He pours water on everything. Oh, it's not as bleak as Kenny says. The doctor's fantastic. Really? How do you know that? Well, let's look at it. That's what Michael looked like in their own video. Look at his Adam's apple here. That's what Michael looked like.
Closing arguments today in the $1.6 billion lawsuit. Our bold question for our jury: is concert promoter AEG responsible for Michael Jackson's death? Welcome to the HLNTV.com evidence room. On this side, the After Dark prosecution, who says yes. On this side, the After Dark defense, who says no. Let's do the battle of the documents. First question we got to deal with is, who hired Dr. Conrad Murray? And there were some emails going back and forth between Conrad Murray and AEG, the concert promoter. Let's take a look at one of them. And important here, dated May 15th, 2009, you have Conrad Murray saying, "I will be ready for signing. I will be ready for signing." And then he says, "I am sure that you're aware that my services are already fully engaged."
Vinny,
what does this email tell us?
You're already walking away from "as for good faith with my client being Michael Jackson. Just because somebody else paid him, all of us know in civil cases and criminal cases, they're family members that often pay us, but that doesn't negate our responsibility to the client. And here, Dr. Murray's client is Michael Jackson. It's Michael Jackson.
But Becca, that confuses an issue, because it doesn't have to be that it's either Dr. Murray or AEG. It is clear. If AEG wasn't involved in this, they wouldn't even be talking to him about a contract or payment. He was hired by AEG for the purpose of keeping Michael Jackson doped up and propped up so that they could make money on that contract.
Absolutely not.
Though. Let's not forget that.
Just because a client, just because he's a doctor, and just like a lawyer, you have an ethical duty to your client, not to the person who pays you.
But my doctor doesn't talk to people besides
the jury is going through these documents as well. And Sydney, I see you shaking your head over here. You agree with the defense?
Absolutely not.
Okay, what?
No, really. I think that, as we go through these semantics, is it my client, Michael Jackson? It's apparent that Michael Jackson was on drugs before this happened, and it's just an unfortunate circumstance.
Interesting.
All right, let's take a look at another document. Ladies and gentlemen, jury, I handed it out to you. Take a look at the next document, and we'll all take a look at it. And this is an internal document from AEG. Paul Gongware, one of the executives. Let's take a look at what this one said, because it's very interesting, and I want to point a few things out to you. We want him, meaning Dr. Murray, to understand what is expected of him. But what do they say before that? We want to remind him that it is AEG, not MJ. AEG, not MJ, who is paying his salary. We want him to understand what is expected of him. Who's in charge? Who's the boss? Looks like AEG.
But
the smoking gun here.
But you're only looking at part of this email chain. The email chain before this specifically says, "Were you aware that MG's doctor didn't permit him to attend rehearsals yesterday? Without invading MG's privacy, it might be a good idea to talk to his doctor to make sure everything MJ requires is in place." His privacy being the privacy between the doctor and the patient.
But you can't ignore the plain language of this email right here. What is expected of him? It is AEG, not MJ, who is paying his salary. That means he works for AEG. They are both, Dr. Murray and AEG, responsible for the death of Michael Jackson.
Up next, Dr. Murray. I've got another document. We're going to hand it out to our jury. It's the contract. The contract between Conrad Murray, AEG, and Michael Jackson. You'll see it next.
I don't know what's gonna happen to you, baby, but I do know that
he wanted to do the 50, or he wouldn't have signed on to do it. MJ was pretty much running the whole show, and so if he didn't want to do 50, trust me, he would not have done 50. So if he was there, he wanted to do it.
We never knew which Michael was going to walk into the room. It was up and down from day to day. We never knew which one we were going to get. Certain days he was just super frail and walking onto the stage like he used to walk into court in his pajamas, when he was held and frail. And then other days he was on fire.